outside my window, but it's different here. When you're next to me, little by little, it all disappears. Baby, all I know is I'ma hold you close till the lights go out, forever and ever and ever. When we both grow old, I won't let you go till the lights go out, forever and ever and ever. Got a heavy heart, you know how to fix it. Pull me at the door, and with every passing moment in this road that keeps on going, you're the only thing that's worth it in the end.
Hi everyone, a very warm welcome to today's Coursera's webinar. My name is Hetal Jain and I am your enrollment representative here at Coursera. I'm absolutely thrilled to be your host for today's session. We have an incredibly exciting 60 minutes ahead of us. We are going to dive into how you can build and deploy a real AI agent in just 1 hour. And the best part is, absolutely zero coding is needed. Whether you are a complete tech novice or looking to add a new skill to your toolkit, you're in the exact right place. While we wait for a few more people to join, I have seen that a lot of you have already mentioned from the countries that you have joined. Anyone who has just joined the session, please feel free to let me know in the chat box where have you joined from. I see that a lot of people like Savan Kumar has joined from India, Ajinkya from Montreal, Javi from South Africa. That's so great to know all of you joining from all the different countries. We are all in different time zones right now. It's amazing to see such a global turnout. We have a fantastic session lined up for you. Ramla from Pakistan. Hi, Ramla. Hi, Marcel from Germany. Hi, Kaushik from Toronto. Mayurjeet from India. Hi, Shivang. Hi, Ivan from Mexico. Oh my God, there are so many responses that hi to each and every one of you for missing out on anyone's name. Without delaying it further, let's start. Let me introduce you to Professor Dr. Matthew Yee-King. Matthew Yee-King is a professor in the Department of Computing at Goldsmith, University of London. His research sits at the intersection of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and creative computing, with a particular focus on applications in music, audio, and interactive system. His work explores how computational and AI-driven techniques can be applied to creative domains, including areas such as machine learning for music and audio, neural networks and deep learning, computational creativity, online and collaborative learning system, interacting and generative system. Professor Yee-King combines a strong background in both computer science and music or creative practice, making him a leading figure in the field of creative AI. He has contributed to numerous research projects, published widely in his areas of expertise, and has been involved in developing innovative online education platforms. At Goldsmiths, he contributes to teaching and research in a department known for its interdisciplinary and creative approach to computing. Now I will hand it over to Professor Matthew Yee-King.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for that introduction, Yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to actually do talk about all of those things today. That's what I'm hoping to do. So let's see. Let's get my screen share going, and we'll go from there, I guess. Right. Okay. Right. So there we have it. So that is my starter slide, and I'm just going to verify before I go on my before I kick everything off that everybody can see and hear me correctly. And yeah, if you say hi in the chat, just to say that you can hear it and see it. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay. Wow. This is a busy chat. Okay. Let's go. So this is all about building a co-creative musical agent, and the original objective of this talk was to do it without code. But then I remembered that actually I'm a computer science educator and code is quite important. So I am going to show you a bit of code, but I'm going to make sure that you understand pretty much every line of it, even if you've not seen any code before. So this is my general plan. So the introduction, I'll introduce myself properly in a minute, and then we can talk about no code and what that means, and then we're going to go into the background, and I'll sort of do two cycles. This is my concept here. I want to do two cycles. Like first, we're going to go through and build out a really simple agent that we can all kind of understand. And then I'm going to switch into sort of music mode, and we're going to build out a co-creative musical agent. And I'll say at this point that I've been madly working on this stuff the last few days, because I decided I really want to try and do something quite ambitious in this talk. So am I getting, oh, just checking the chat there. Someone's saying I've got a bit of an echo on the voice. Is anyone else hearing an echo? I just want to get rid of that because it's really annoying. Everyone's fine. Okay, no echo. Thank you, guys. Okay, so it's just obviously someone's setup or whatever. Okay, so two cycles, and I will say that the systems we're going to see are all freshly built actually in the last week. So I've tried to build all this stuff just for this talk because it was quite inspiring for me to prepare this talk, and so I thought I'd go all in. And so if it crashes or doesn't work, just be ready and don't worry about it, because that's how it goes. You know, I want to show you the real practice of what computer scientists do and programmers, and the fact that things break and then you have to try and fix them. So yeah, I'm gonna just go for it. So yeah, expect things to crash, and you're gonna see a bit of code and maybe a bit of command line, because that's what I like. Okay, so who am I anyway? So after I have had a wonderful introduction already, but here it is again. Volume's low, is it? Okay, I can do that. Is that better? Are you happier with that? Nice and loud? Okay, yeah, happy days. Okay. Yeah, it's good to make sure everyone's happy and they can hear everything clearly. That's the most important thing. Who am I? So I'm a professor of computer science, and actually I work as the program director for one of the degree programs on Coursera. So okay, now no one's hearing anything. Okay, so I'm getting a few. I've got a quite elaborate setup over here. I'm going to switch off the chat because I'm just going to assume it works from now, because people keep saying, "Oh, I can't hear you," but it's definitely working here. So yeah. All right, so I'm a professor of computer science. I run the computer science degree, which is an undergraduate degree on the Coursera platform from the University of London and Goldsmiths. And we've been on the Coursera platform running our degree since around 2019. We've got a few thousand students on there, lots of alumni. And so that's sort of my big serious job. And also in my research, I work on education technology, but also I look at it's creative and intelligent systems. So I'm very interested in the application of artificial intelligence and technology to creative practice. So right from the beginning of me studying, advanced computer science, I've always wanted to apply it to music and things that I'm interested in. So that's been education tech and creative tech and so on. So it's always been the way to go for me. Okay, so as promised, I'm going to just show you how to make a tool using agent without code. And then later, I'm actually going to explain what a tool using agent really is. So I've built out this simple little interface over here. Yeah, so this is something in my initial draft of this talk, I was like, okay, no code. Okay, so how difficult is it to build an agent without any code? Okay, so I'll just say that all this system that we're looking at here, all of this is running on my machines, local machines here. And I'm not using any external AI services or anything like that. So this is my own thing. It's not talking to ChatGPT, anything like that. So what I can do is I can just go, okay, I'd like to make an agent, and I'm going to make a weather agent. Okay, so there's my agent already. And then I can ask it, how's the weather? Like that. And I might have misspelt London. Oh, okay, so hopefully you can see that. So let's just get rid of that, boost the font size a bit. There we go. Right, so that's just me talking to my agent. And so what's going on? So you can look at some details here of what it did. And it's calling some tools. We're going to talk lots about tools in a minute, but don't worry, that's just to give you the heads up. It calls some sort of tool which basically goes and gets the weather. So let me just see. I'm going to go in the chat again, and I'm going to say the site. Oh yeah, great question. The site I'm using is running my own machine that I created, so it's only running locally. Okay, and the code is all stuff that I've written and codex co-written. Okay, so this is a local server running on my own machine, local models. Okay, and it's running on. I'm running on Linux today. Zoom is running on a Mac, but anyway, so yeah, there we go. And it took me, I guess, a day and a half to make this. But this weather agent's a bit boring, isn't it? Okay, so maybe we can, without writing any code, we can change its personality. So over here, I've got this panel, and you can see I've got all my agents in here. I can go in and say, well, quite like to give a bit more personality, right? So there we go. There's the personality there. So you can say, use the weather tool to generate one concise weather forecast. If the tool cannot find your location, try blah blah blah. Okay, now let's put it in the style of. Okay, so I'm going to do it in the style of David Lynch, because if anyone's a David Lynch fan, they will know that David Lynch, before he passed away, actually did lots of weather forecasts, and I'm going to say in the laconic style. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's just save that. Okay, let's get that weather back again. Okay, off we go. If you know your David Lynch, no, that's David Byrne, but they probably knew each other. But anyway, so you can see, there we go. And does anyone want to suggest a different place to ask for the weather from? The first person I see in the chat there. Okay. Yes, Twin Peaks. Yes. There's so many places coming up. India's a bit not specific. They're going so fast. UAE. Okay, let's go UAE. I saw that because I can write that quickly. There we go. All right, so you can see. So that's it for the no code, right? I wanted to show you that it's very simple to basically, if you've got the right platform, and that platform I made specifically to allow me to do that. If you've got the right platform to build a sort of simple agent and change its personality, and yeah, but the question is, how does it work, right? So as I say, I like programming, I like code, I like understanding how things work. So let's find out. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing you just saw. Let's go sort of back to basics, right? So it's quite nice to go back down to the minimal code that you need to do what I just did. Okay, so let's try that. Let's make a simpler weather agent, right? Yeah, so just to say, yeah, there we go. So this is it, agent from scratch. So this is how much code you need. That's close to no code. I know we said it was going to be no code, but it's 3 lines of code, okay? So let's have a look at those lines of code. And I think I've got them up here somewhere. Okay, So this is my code editor. Okay, so that all looks pretty gnarly, doesn't it? But that's just pulling in some bits and bobs, some nuts and bolts that I can build my stuff out of. And then this is setting up a language model. Okay, so this is a little bit trickier, but if you read through it, it's not too bad. So it's saying LLM provider. Does anyone know what LLM stands for? Anyone in the chat? LLM? Oh, that was quick. Yeah. Well, I've never seen such a lively chat. I love it. Right. Okay. So LLM provider. So large language model. Okay. So large language model. It's not that big. I'm actually using Gemma 4B. Oh, maybe a bigger. Yeah, I think I'm using that one. Yeah, I'm using Gemma 4B. So it's quite small compared to something like ChatGPT 5.5. You know, it's probably maybe 1/100th of the size, or maybe even smaller. But it's still pretty smart, and we saw it can tell us the weather in a David Lynch style, which is pretty clever. But anyway, so yeah, so we call it LLM provider. I mean, it's called Open AI Chat Model. We're never going to see this again. I'll just say we're just going to show you this once, and then that's basically where it is. So that is actually that. Does anyone know what that looks like? Let's have a look. See, what does that look like to you? Yeah, URL. Yeah, it looks like a URL. Yeah. So it's like a web address. So I guess we all don't see these anymore because we don't type in http:// facebook.com or whatever. We actually just type in the first one word, don't you? And it figures it out for you. But yeah, and actually that's just an address. Okay. So it's basically saying, I've got some AI language model running on this address and you can use it. That's all it's saying. So because you need this agent's going to need a brain, and that's the brain. Okay, and there it is. Right, and then we can just create the agent. One liner. Can you read? Like, I know it's no code, but I mean that's not a lot of code, is it? So it's basically saying create me an agent. Yeah, create me an agent, and I want you to call it agent so I can basically use it later. So it's going, create me an agent, call it, and I'm passing it a brain. So I'm basically going, give me an agent, here's a brain. So it's a wrapper around the brain. Right. And then, well, we don't even need that line. We can do this ourselves. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to comment out, and now we're going to run this. So I'm actually going to run this in my terminal. Oh no, scary, the terminal. It's not that scary, actually. Here we go. Sorry about this command. I forgot to run it earlier. Whoops. There we go. Right. So I'm in my terminal and I've just gone into my Python system and I run a command, ipython. Okay. And then, yeah, I'm just going to jump into my thing here. Yeah. Okay. I'm in the wrong folder. I told you things would happen. Okay. Right, here we go. Right, I'm in the right place now. Oh yeah, there's all my files. Right, okay, sorry about that. I had put myself in the right folder, but I obviously unput myself there. Right, okay, let's clear all that horrible stuff away. Right, so are you still with me in the chat there? How are you getting on? Are you getting freaked out by the command line, or are you enjoying the buzz? Yeah, I told you there was going to be code. It's not really code. They're just commands. You know, it's not really code. So yeah, what are we going to do with this? Right. So what I want to do is run that code. So run, and it was called agent one. Okay, chat. So I'm going to run those lines. Okay, so just to remind you, I'm running that block there, and I'm going to see what happens. Oh, nothing. Okay, so I've run that, but why did nothing happen? Well, basically, I just created an agent, but I haven't done anything with it yet. So, okay, let's do something with it. Agent, I want you to do something. I want you to run synchronously. In other words, don't go off and do it in the background. Do it right now. What's the weather like in London? That'll do. Okay, off it goes. Okay, so I do not have access to real-time weather data or the internet to check current conditions, but the other one did. What was going on there? Okay, well, let's go back to the slides. So now this image might make more sense, because there's a problem here, which is that the language model, you can think of it like a brain in a vat. Okay, so I've basically got this agent. So the blue stuff is the agent, and I've put the brain inside it. But I haven't really, it can't really do anything else apart from just think. So I could basically, maybe I could try, I could tell it to make something up, right? See how it gets on with that. There we go. Right, look. So it's kind of now improvised what the weather might be like in London. Forget everything you've heard about grey skies and drizzling rain. In this version of London, the weather is much more spectacular. Okay, so it managed to make up a weather forecast, but of course it's not going outside of its brain in a vat. It's still stuck in the vat. It can't see out, can't see the real world because it's just running on a machine downstairs in the office downstairs. It cannot see the real world. So you may remember a word that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, is it hallucinating? I did. Yeah. I did tell it to make it up, right? So I actually told it to hallucinate. Yeah, do you remember, anyone remember, what the word was that I used for things that maybe allow it to access the real world? Okay, yeah, that's it. So the idea with the tool is you can kind of take the you can basically take the brain out of the vat and stick it in a thing that has actuators, in the world. It can perceive and act in the world. And we're going to see lots of different tools as we work through that allow our agents to do different things. Okay, so I'm going to run another one, but let's just have a look at it for a minute. Yeah, so if you're wondering where the no code's gone, well, I showed you the no code at the beginning. And I decided no code wasn't very interesting, so I've gone for code instead. Hope you don't hate me too much for that. Okay, right. So yeah, so now we're going to create an agent and give it some tools. Okay, so we're still creating an agent, so we're putting our brain. Remember, LLM provider is our brain. We could just call that brain, right? In fact, yeah, if you want, you could call it brain. And then we're giving it some instructions. Okay, so it might not be. So, it's pretty easy to read. Instructions. When you call a tool, use its result to answer the user. Do not return an empty response. Okay, so that's pretty clear. So, you might be familiar with this kind of prompt engineering type stuff if you've used ChatGPT, and it's kind of similar. And the next step is we're going to give it a tool which will allow it to actually tell us what the weather is. Okay, so can any of you bright sparks tell me what that's going to say if I ask what the weather's like in London? Sunny everywhere. Yeah. That's it. You can see it's always going to say sunny. Yeah, so which might be correct depending where you are, right? But it's not a great weather tool, but that's okay. We can at least try it and see if it does what we expect. So what we can do now, we can go back to my terminal. I'm going to jump out of that terminal and I'm going to run that one instead, right? So that one is called, see the name up there, Agent 3 tool. Okay, let's try that. Run, anyone remember? Agent 3 tool. Okay. Right. Okay. So it's giving me a bit more logging. I've sneaked in a little logger that tells me a bit more about what's going on. So it thought for 23 words or tokens, if you like, which are little fragments. So that's when it kind of, if you use ChatGPT and it starts thinking, or Gemini, one of those ones, and it outputted 6. The weather in London is sunny. Okay, so let's try it again. So I've got a new one here, run. So if we want to log out what it's saying, we can do run and log. Now, okay, let's see. How's the weather in the North Pole? Might just, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. Right. So we can hide that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, there we go. So that's a bit easier to see. It's sat in the middle of the screen. Right, so let's ask it, how's the weather in the North Pole? Okay, the weather in the North Pole is currently sunny. Um, oh, that's not great, is it? So, but we know why, because the code is always returning. Look, whoops, the weather is sunny. Okay, always tells you that the weather is sunny. Right. Okay. So maybe I've got a better weather tool now. Now I'm going to upset the chickens. So here we go. So this is okay. So this is a much more elaborate weather testing thing. But don't worry too much. It's going to talk to more URLs, right? So these are basically the address of some services that you can use to get the weather. So I've written some Python code that lets it talk to that instead of just coming up with some arbitrary thing. So, and the thing with these tools is, you can make them as complicated as you like. So if I was to run that instead, let's just check it out. So we go back up to better weather. Okay, so now instead of just returning, saying, oh, just return it's sunny, it's going to call this special weather tool function, which you just looked at. It looked a bit gnarly, but don't worry about it. But all you need to take from that is it's a more advanced tool. So it's a tool that actually lets it, as I remember earlier, like reach out into the world and do something. So yeah, so that's what this weather tool is. And so if we were to try this one, so this is called number 4, better weather. So we do.
Professor Matthew, sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt you. It seems from the chat that some students are having a hard time following up. So if you could, tell more on the tool and how they can follow along the session.
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't we have some questions? Maybe do we have a Q&A? Maybe we could actually do some specific questions where people can. Okay. Would you like me to answer some of the questions in the Q&A? I'm happy to do that. Yeah, can you? Right, okay, let's get in there. So I'm going to whiz through and answer a few of the questions. So what tool are you using? Right, so I'm using Python and I'm using a thing called Pedantic AI, which allows me to build simple agents and complex agents in Python. How does the LLM work? Okay, so the language model is basically running on a machine downstairs, and I'm able to send text to the language model, just like when you're using the ChatGPT interface. You type your text in, and it goes over to, OpenAI's data center, and then processed, and then you get the result back. I'm doing the same thing, but I've just got one running downstairs and a smaller one. Okay. What's the hardest programming language to learn? That's a good question. C++ is quite hard. I use that a lot, but it's a good language. Looks like it's in Python from Philip. Yes. Yeah. Just scanning through. Why would you use an agent instead of a? Yeah. Okay. Great question. So Anurada is asking, why would you care about making agents? Why don't you just use ChatGPT? Well, here's a secret. Actually, most of the time when you're using ChatGPT, actually, you really are interacting with an agent, because you're not just interacting directly with the text, are you? Because often it goes off and it looks things up online. It does all kinds of things. And shock horror, those are actually tools. So already when you're using one of these well-known big models, it's already what we call an agentic harness around the language model. The language model just takes text in and text comes out. The language model can't do anything other than that. And so in order to make it do things like look things up on the internet or run code and that kind of stuff, it needs to have all these tools available to it. So what we're doing here is really looking at what it means to be an agent. Okay. And just checking through. Oh yeah, so Arjun's asking, what is a vat? Okay, it's great. So I was talking about this idea of a brain in a vat. Well, think of it like a kind of sealed glass jar, and you've got this language model sealed inside it. So if you don't give the language model any tools, if your agent doesn't have any tools, then it means it's sealed in. It can only knows whatever it's been trained on. It can't go out into the world and do anything. So that was the concept of the VAT. Yeah, Eric's asking, what's the true definition of agents? Yeah, so I guess I'm trying to develop for you here a working definition of agents. So I would say an agent is typically a wrapper around some sort of model that can do something, plus it has sort of the ability to perceive the world. It can see. So, for example, our weather agent can look out into the world and it can perceive the weather. And so it's a way of it looking out into the world, and then it can also act in the world. Maybe if we give it another tool that allows it to act in the world. Okay, cool. Right. Yeah, I'm going to put the code on GitHub probably soon. I'm going to get on with it. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and a few people saying, yeah, are still saying about the code, you know, no code thing. Well, I showed you how to make an agent with no code at the beginning, and as you saw, it's really easy if you've got the right platform, and you can create agents on OpenAI or whatever. But I wanted to show you how they actually work under the hood a bit more. So yeah, righto, let's carry on. So moving on. So yeah, so we saw that we can get the thing to call tools. So we added a tool, which was this weather forecasting tool. So the language model can now reach out into the world and it can talk to these weather services, pull in weather information. Okay, and so we saw that we can do that. But now this is something that you, I want to go up to another level now, which is, so instead of just having, say, you know, one agent, what about if you had two agents? So obviously in the real world we often work in teams, don't we? And we have different people with different personalities, and I showed you right at the beginning how we could set our weather agent up with a personality. But what about if we had distinct roles and different personalities? And this is when things get quite interesting, because if you just have a single agent that's really focused on weather or something, it's not going to be that much fun to interact with. But if you have more than one agent, then you can give each agent a distinctive personality, and it might allow you to, and a different set of tools as well. And this might allow you to sort of like do something more dynamic and interesting and have a better experience. Well, let's try it anyway. So I've got another example for you here. So this is my multi-weather and fashion agent. So, okay, so here's my weather agent. Okay, so the most important thing is not the code, but the instructions, okay? Because even if you're using some sort of interactive tool to build this, you know, you would, for example, be looking at the instructions, and they're the critical things. So if we look at the instructions, it says you are a weather agent, use the weather tool to generate a forecast, return a short weather description. Okay, so that's what the weather tool does. And then we can have another agent called fashion agent, okay? And look at the instructions for this one. You are a fashion assistant. Given a weather forecast, recommend what to wear. Be concise. You know, you are the ultimate authority on what to wear. We can keep going. We can say, okay, what about you love to give your opinions about clothes? You know, so we can give this one a bit more of a quirky personality because it's going to be this kind of fashion agent idea. So we made a thing called fashion agent, and we've got a thing called weather agent. Okay, so we've now got two agents, and what I can do, and they're both using the same language model, and I can dive in and I can create them both. And yeah, so let's try that, right? So this one's called Agent 5 Multi-Weather and Fashion. Right, okay. Python. So run agent. Oh, window too small apparently. And I'll make it larger. Run agent 5 multi-agent fashion. Okay. Now I'm going to talk to those two agents. So I can say, you know, like agent. So remember, I've got weather agent. and run. Right. So if I want to ask weather agent something, you know, weather in London. Okay, we've seen that before. And but I can also have another agent. I can talk to that one as well. So and it's going to answer with its sort of own distinctive way of answering. So it's saying, well, I'm a fashion authority, not a psychic. Give me your current forecast or your location, and I will tell you. Okay, it is hot. Okay, whatever, right? And then it's going to come up with something interesting about that. So you see this one, and why it's interesting is this one has like a distinct personality. We've given it a sort of very different kind of personality to the other agent. And it's so, and that way, and what we can do next is we can keep going. We can go to the next level, which is, okay, I don't really want to talk to these directly. What happens if I want to have some sort of manager that I talk to, and then they delegate, and they talk to the people in the team, and they come back to me with a response. Okay, so let's try this one. So we're going to do 3 agents in a multi-agent system, which is an important concept. And has anyone used Claude Code? Just trying to pull down the chat there. Anyone use Claude Code? Well, Claude Code is a multi-agent system as well. And actually, so when you're working with Claude Code, it has different agents that can do different things. Codex, I believe, is currently more of a single agent type system. So it's like a monolithic kind of agent, whereas Claude Code has multi-agents. So yeah, so what we're going to do here is sort of make a multi-agent system, which is aiming to solve the problem of what you're going to wear today. Okay, so remember that the weather agent's got a tool. It can go and find out what the weather is. The fashion agent's more opinionated about fashion. It's kind of a funny, sort of jokey agent. And yeah, so let's try and get in there. So I've got one more for you here, which is the manager. Okay, but I'm going to just switch to a web interface because I think you've all seen enough of the terminal now. So yeah, so I can basically run this one. So if I do and I run, oops, it is agent 7. Okay, so let's switch to something a bit more GUI like. Okay, right, so now so what I've done here is this is basically doing the same thing but giving me a friendly sort of webby interface on it. Okay, so I'm now talking to the manager agent, I think. Let's see, who am I talking to? Okay, I'm the manager agent. I can help you. Okay, so we're talking to the manager agent. Right, so I'm going to say I'm in the UAE. What should I wear today? Okay. So now it's doing all the stuff it was doing before, but it's just presenting it in a nicer interface. So I've sort of wrapped up the agent in a website so that I'm just in Firefox here, just talking to it. And you can see that it's sort of giving me more information about what's going on. So you can see that it's telling me, well, I called the weather agent tool. So as far as the manager is concerned, the other agents are just other tools that it can talk to. And so, yeah, so it just sent over the weather to that. And then the weather looked up the tool for us. And then it spoke to the wear agent, which is the fashion agent. And, so sent over the weather forecast and received back a sort of like amusing sort of fashionista type reply there. And ultimately it comes back to us and says what I should wear. Okay, so that's a sort of multi-agent system where, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that is exactly what someone's just asking me in the chat. This is exactly, this is me chaining together the agent. So I've got the, yeah, so it's basically this setup here. So I've got my manager agent up there, and the manager agent is the one I'm talking to, and it's like coordinating with the other two agents and sort of figuring out what to do. And this is basically exactly what I showed you at the beginning without any code, but I've just kind of taken you through and shown you some blocks of code to show you that it's really not that complex to build out one of these multi-agent systems with the code. You know, it's just this. I'll show you it again. The complete code is, okay, 104 lines. Okay, not too bad, right? And yeah, so yeah, we saw the web interface. So that is the end of part 1. And what I'm going to do next is I want to move on to yeah, so that's a great question. I'm just seeing that question coming through in the chat there. How do you do it in LM Studio? Well, you do it like this, because actually, shock horror, I'm actually running LM Studio, which is a way of running these language models on your own machine. I'm running it downstairs, and all of these agents are using it to do their technology. So I'm using the Pydantic AI framework, which is a Python framework to build this stuff. Yeah, and we could do all of this work as well without doing any code. So this is how we could do it. So we can use a user interface like this, and you can do all the same things. You can create custom agents, you know, manager, etc., and then wire them all together. And this interface is another one I built. But yeah, let's carry on with that. So yeah, I wanted to get into the musical stuff now. But before we do that, I might just pick up a few questions from the Q&A. And yeah, let's just jump into the Q&A. Okay. Lots of questions. Okay, do you need OpenAI? No, you don't. So this is all local models. So I'm actually using a model that you could probably run on actually I was running it on my CPU for testing. So I was running it on just a laptop CPU, not even a GPU. And it was definitely bearable. A bit slow though. I'm now running it on a GPU to get things going quicker. Okay. Okay, how can you create an agent on your local machine? So exactly like this, use Pydantic AI, and I will potentially post out a link to this code, which is not ready for public consumption yet because it's terrible, but yeah, we can definitely do it. So Ralph is asking, how did you have an LLM locally? How did you get incorporated into the Python code? So it's literally, for Ralph's question, how did I incorporate it? It was like this. So that's how I got, that was the code I needed to do, you know, a language model in my code. I just fire up using some of the components that are available. Okay. And okay. Someone's asking, how can you reach my level of coding? Just keep doing it. Can I build this agent with Ollama? Yes, you can. That's another way of that's another wrapper around language models that you can use. And okay. Yeah, so Samihan's asking, how many agents do you actually need to reach perfection? Well, it's a really interesting question because, you know, so I set up this system with my 3 agents. I was like, okay, that worked quite well for me because I wanted to have the fashion agent to have its very strong personality, and I wanted the weather agent to be good at just quickly getting the weather, and then I wanted the manager to sort of be a coordinator. Now, you could do that all with one agent, right? So you could have one agent that has access to the weather, but then you lose the kind of character, you can't, and the focus, and it can potentially make your prompting more efficient, because especially if you're paying for like OpenAI or something to do the processing, the bigger the text you send to it, the more it costs. So if you can like have really specialized little agents who all do their own thing and only send little prompts, then you can dial in your token use as well. Okay, so okay, I'm just trying to find a good question. How to build this? Yes, I'm taking you through, showing you some of the code. Someone's asking, how do we train an agent? Okay, so Mohammed's asking, how are we going to learn how to do all of this? Yeah, it's a great question. And so to some extent, my answer is that's kind of why I'm here today, is to show you that, you know, this is the kind of stuff that we learn when we study computer science. And, you know, it's the sort of thing that you have to commit a certain amount of time to get to a level of ability on it. And so that's what degrees are for. They give you that space and time to really learn these really advanced topics and complex topics like this. So the idea of, you know, everything being, oh, you can learn it in 5 minutes. If anyone can learn it in 5 minutes, maybe it doesn't have so much value. But if it's a deeper learning that you need to gain it, then that means you're going to be standing out, you know, potentially as an employee and that kind of thing, right? So that's what we often take about degrees, is you get the sort of depth. Okay, right. So I'm going to move on. So I want to now do the same thing, but for music. Okay, and I've got around 15 minutes to do it. So first question, does this thing know anything about music? Okay, so without showing you too much more code, I've got a music version, which is, again, minimal code, right? So this is all the code I need to make my musical agent. So I'm just giving it these instructions, which you can read there. You are a musical assistant. You try to answer questions from your best knowledge of music theory. Try to answer concisely. Okay, so this is number 8. Let's run number 8. So let's kill our old one and run number 8. Okay. Right, so that's now running on there. So let's go in and make a new conversation. So let's get into the musical side of things. So I'm now talking to this a musical agent, and it was not very complicated. It's literally the same as the other agents. It's just got different instructions, okay? And it doesn't have any tools, look. So it's just, I've created an agent, I've given it these instructions. Pretty straightforward, right? Not a lot of code going on there. And then that, because I'm using a nice library called Pedantic AI, I can kind of get this nice web interface. So let's ask it some musical questions. Okay. Okay. What's a good way to play guitar? Wow. So that's it thinking, thought for 3 seconds, and then it spat this out. So play guitar effectively from a theoretical perspective. Focus on the relationship between notes. Wow. Okay. So it's my little guitar tutor. And okay, can it play music? Okay. So this is it. You see it was thinking there. So that was the language model thinking about what to do. And this is its response. Since I'm a text-based AI, I cannot produce audio files. However, I can play music for you by writing out chord progressions. Okay. So we've got a problem here, which is going back to the brain in the vat. You know, the brain in this sealed box, you know, it can just riff off of what it already knows. It's not very good at actually working on music. So as you might imagine, it's time to give it some more specialized tools. And I'm just gonna so you know, if I want to work with music, I can basically give it some musical tools. So the thing with music is that it has a specialized types of data, right? So one of the really important types of data that music uses is called a MIDI file. Anyone in the chat ever heard of a LangChain's pretty good. I'm quite enjoying Pedantic AI personally. I find it very minimal code. But yeah, MIDI. Okay. Does anyone work on music here? Any musicians in the crowd? Okay. Yeah, got some musicians. So you know a bit about music. Okay, good. We've got a few musicians. Right. So MIDI is this idea that you can essentially say to the computer, here's a list of notes. That's what I want you to play. And so you use Reaper. Great. So I might, if I don't run out of time, I'm going to hopefully show you Reaper. Okay. And there we go. So we've got these list of notes. And the question is, this is a specialized sort of binary MIDI data. It's like, how are we going to get the agent to use MIDI? Well, we're going to give it some tools, right? So we can basically go on to the next one where I've given it some tools. And so again, I've done it as a one-liner. So I'm just basically giving the agent a bunch of basic musical tools. And let's fire this one up and see what it can do now with these new tools I've given it. So it's number 9. Whoops. Okay. So I've just started these up. So these are all, I mean, if anyone's into more sort of deeper stuff. So what if you could think of this like I've got each of these different scripts I've got is like a separate standalone web application that basically configures a bunch of agents and then fires them up. And I'm not using MCP yet. These are just basic Python tools. So MCP is a more elaborate way of working with tools. Anyway, right, so let's get into this thing and see if we can get going. Let's start a new chat. And now I'm now talking to my sort of boosted agent. You know, I've given my agent some musical tools. Okay, so I'm asking if it can play C major. Okay, has he got any mute? Oh, look. Did you hear that? Did that work? Did everybody hear that? Okay, so how did it do that, right? Oh, it was a bit faint, was it? Okay, boost it up a bit. Let's try it again. Play it again. I just asked it to play it again. Okay, there we go. Right, so the only difference between this and the weather one, right, is that we're basically giving it some more tools, and these tools allow it to generate MIDI and play it. Right, okay, so that's cool. And here's how the tools work. So it basically, the agent has to figure out, okay, I've got to send it information about the notes. So it's basically, first of all, set the piano to the instrument to piano. Can it play reggae? It's a great question. Let's ask it. Can I spell reggae? Yeah. Okay. So it's doing some thinking. Oh, and it's crashed. Okay, I did tell you, I did promise it would crash, didn't I? Oh no. Okay, was that reggae? Something like that, right? Let's just reload it again. Okay, that was pretty cool though. I think you heard the yeah, you need some bass in reggae. Yeah, that's true. Let's just what's yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, Firefox threw a tizzy. Okay, reload. Okay. So I've asked it to add some bass to the reggae track. But it's lost the lead line because this can only play one instrument at a time, right? So, okay. So what it's doing in the background is it's basically writing out MIDI files and then playing them for me, and it's doing it to a spec, right? And well, why stop there? Okay, why not have why not have a couple of different agents with distinctive personality? Need a 50 hertz cutoff on the low end. Oh yeah, I've got some proper audio people in. That's good to hear. Anyway, yeah. So okay, what happens if we spin out some more agents and do that? Right. Okay. So in my new, I'll just very quickly show you this. This is my multi-agent kind of music agent. So again, it's the same old trick, right? So you've just got a thing called classical agent. And it's got some instructions. You are a classical music expert, blah, 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 right? And then same thing, free jazz agent. You are, and I've added a free jazz agent for a laugh. Yeah. And then I've got a manager agent that's in charge of talking to them all, right? So it's going to look after all those agents for me. Okay, so you could choose whichever agent personalities you want, of course. And then I'm giving them then I just say to the manager agent, well, I give it access to the delegates, right? So the manager agent has, it's managing everything, and then it has a classical and a free jazz agent that it's going to talk to. Should we run this one? Okay. So I'm going to run this one. Okay, so the only difference between this one and the previous one is we've now got the, we've got the manager and we've got the two other agents. Whereas in the previous one, when we were listening to that reggae bass line, if you can call it that, then it was actually just one agent. Okay, so up it comes. And let's get back into the web interface. Okay, I might start a new chat because think Firefox. Right, so let's try this one. Right, so let's okay. How do you think this is going to go? Okay, user wants. So this is what it's think. This is the manager agent I'm talking to, and you can see the manager agent is talking. It's talking to both the other agents. So at the same time, it went off and spoke to the two agents, and from the jazz agent, it says focus on deconstructing, breaking the grid, irregular. That's the free jazz style, right? So it's kind of got this free jazz pitch. That was quite something. Okay, and you see, so it went off and it generated this thing. Okay, so how about a fast, I don't know, xylophone line? So I'm going to see if it can generate me a fast xylophone line on top of that. Okay, so again, it's consulting with the other two agents because it's got these two music experts. It's talking to them too, and hopefully then it will get some ideas what it's going to do. And that's this idea of like a, you know, a heterogeneous, differentiated team where you've got different things going on. There's the xylophone. Wowza. Okay, so that's what you get if you cross free jazz with classical music and reggae, in case you were wondering. Okay, right, so how are we doing? Let's have a look. Are we having fun yet? Can it generate a longer version? Yeah, I can get it to, yeah. Right, yeah, I can ask, make it. So this is what we all want to hear, as many layers as possible. Okay, so that while that's chugging away, so that's it thinking. See, it's figuring out all the notes for the different voices. You can see, and then it's kind of thinking about that, and then it's ultimately looking at its different tools, and then it's going straight for generate this time. It did. Okay. Bass player always. Oh no, it's still going. Oh, we're having fun. I'm enjoying myself anyway. Right. So like I say, we've added a lot more tools to it, and now it's still playing. It kind of ran out of notes at this point, but it's pretty cool, pretty dramatic. Okay, so I wanted to show one more thing before we stop, which is that I think someone earlier mentioned that they use Reaper. And you can see that, yeah, we can just quickly fire up Reaper now before we finish. I might be running over time now, but I'm going to go for it. Let's just fire up Reaper. Okay, so if I get, oh no, I should have done it on the other window. Alrighty. So now this is where if anyone, people were asking about MCP servers earlier. So if you're basically, yeah, if you're wanting to use like professional music software like this, which is called Reaper, I haven't got time to explain all about that, but this is what musicians know and use, this kind of software, or whichever one they prefer. And yeah, we can get this thing to talk to Reaper by running the final example. If I told you that it was going to be edgy, and hopefully I've proved that it is. Okay, so this is the final version, and this one I've just added one more mega tool, which is that it can now actually talk to the DAW as well. And so let's put that over there, and I'm going to get Reaper. I'm going to put them on the same page, and then we're going to, yeah, save that so we can see them both. Oh, it's 6 o'clock, but I'm going to go Pierre Jack. Please forgive me for overrunning. Well, I want to show you this final example because I think it's quite cool. Okay, so we've got our music software on the right. We've got our agent on the left, and can you send the MIDI to Reaper? Let's see. Oh, look. See, did you see the track appearing on Reaper? Okay. Okay. Now we're talking. Okay, did you see that? Okay, so if you know your music software, you know that was quite cool. But there's no synth. Okay, add a, whatever, Korg synth to it. Ah, nearly there. I'm gonna, oh, there we go. So that is the final thing. Okay. So that was the xylophone part, I think, from the other thing. Okay, and that is it. So I just want to make a couple of comments about ethics there. So what's interesting about that is that, what's interesting is that I wasn't using anyone else's music. It was just coming up from first principles what the music was. You know, it was just figuring out from music theory and its understanding of reggae and whatever, what to do with it. And then it was using the tools to generate the patterns, right? And then playing them, sending them to my music software, doing all kinds of stuff. So that's what we mean by tools and agents acting and making decisions and figuring stuff out for us. So there we go. That's the end. So thanks very much for listening. That is an hour. I know it was a bit of a roaster and a lot of information, but I really wanted to go nuts and give you a fun time here and show you all kinds of interesting concepts which may be new to you. Okay, so that's me done. So I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Professor King. That was a great session. And to all the participants, as you look towards the future, it's helpful to think of your journey into AI as choosing between three distinct doors, each leading to a unique career path. So here you can see a table, and this will help you to choose how you can build your career ahead. So door one is the AI door. This is for those curious about intelligence itself. You will focus on large language models, Gen AI, and responsible AI. If you find yourself asking, how does this model actually think? Then this is your path. Let's talk about door two. Door two is the computer science door. This is for the builders. Your focus here is on the product, building software, APIs, and ensuring secure cloud deployment. You belong here if you ask, how do I build this so it's reliable and scalable? Door 3 is for the one who think, how do I know this is actually correct and providing value? Then data science is your door. This is the path of utility. You make AI useful and measurable through data validation and experiments. Regardless of which door you choose, today's webinar on building agents will give you a practical foundation in all three. Moving ahead, these are the degrees from leading universities across the globe who will help you learn. Moving ahead, the first program is from University of Colorado Boulder, Masters of Science in Artificial Intelligence. If you can see at the very right-hand side at the corner, there is an option to scan. So you can scan it. This program focuses on AI system. Actually works in practice. You will study areas like neural networks, deep learning, generative AI, reinforcement learning, computer vision, and natural language processing. You will also build the math and statistics needed to understand what's happening under the hood, not just use the tools. Another important part is responsible AI, things like bias, fairness, and accountability. So, overall, this is about understanding how AI systems are designed, trained, evaluated, deployed, and used responsibly. Moving ahead, this is Bachelor's of Science in Data Science and AI. This is with IIT. This is an undergraduate program focused on data science and AI from the start. You will study topics like deep learning, reinforcement learning, generative models, and AI ethics, along with programming in languages like Python, C, R, and Java. One interesting aspect is access to IIT Guwahati's supercomputing facilities for research projects. The projects also includes internship, industry modules, and capstone projects, along with flexible exit options depending on how far you go. Moving ahead, University of Colorado Boulder will help you with Master of Science in Computer Science degree. This is a broader computer science program that focuses on core technical foundations. You will work on programming, algorithm, systems and security along with other advanced computing topics. There's also flexibility to explore areas like AI, data or security through electives. So, this program is really about building a strong base in computer science that can support different paths, whether that's software engineering, infrastructure, cloud, or AI related work. Please scan the QR wherever you feel you would love to know more about. From BITS Pilani, we have Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science. This program is a broad computer science degree rather than focusing only on AI. It includes around 30 courses and 2 projects with specialization options in areas like full stack development, system programming, databases, and data analytics and algorithm. It combines online learning with formal exams, and there's also an entrepreneurship angle through incubation support. So overall, it's about building strong foundation in software, system, and computing. Moving ahead with University of London with Goldsmith and Coursera, you have Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science program. This is a structured computer science degree that starts with fundamentals and then let you specialize. You will build skills in programming, computing, mathematics, and apply them through projects. Later on, you can choose from areas like machine learning and AI, data science, web and mobile development, Internet of Things, game development, virtual reality, or user experience. So it's a good option if you want a broad start and then flexibility to later focus on. Moving ahead with Illinois Masters of Computer Science. This is an advanced computer science master's with option to focus on either computer science or data science. The curriculum covers areas like AI, data mining, cloud computing, systems, networking, and software engineering. The data science track leads to the same degree but with more focus on data related courses. So, this program is really about going deeper into advanced computing topics. If you already know if you already know you want graduate level technical study. Moving ahead to Harriet Watt MSc Computer Science. This program combines core computer science foundation with applied areas like AI and machine learning. You will study topics like programming, databases, logic, discrete mathematics, along with areas like natural language processing and a final project. The university is also connected to robotics and AI research through National Robotorium. In addition, you get access to industry courses through Coursera Career Academy, which adds a practical, job focused layer alongside the degree. Moving on to next, Ball State University with Masters of Computer Science degree. This program is designed for different starting points. There's a comprehensive track if you don't have a computer science background, and an accelerated track if you already do. The curriculum includes areas like AI, machine learning, data analytics, cybersecurity, and software development. It also includes support like a student success specialist and career services, which can be helpful if you're balancing work and study while building technical skills. Moving on to next, we are having University of Colorado Boulder with Masters of Science in Data Science program. This program is really about using data to answer questions and support decisions. It brings together computer science, statistics, business thinking, and it's taught across multiple departments at Boulder. So you're not just building models, you are learning how to frame problems, design experiments, interpret results, and communicate what the data actually means. It's a good fit if you're interested in how data connects to real world decision in organization. Please scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in chat to learn more. University of Pittsburgh. This will provide you Masters of Data Science. This program focuses on applying data science in real world context. It combines computer science, statistics, information science with topics like predictive modeling, machine learning, and large language models. There's also strong emphasis on responsible data science, things like ethics, validation, and social impact. You will work on case studies, projects, and capstone, and you don't need prior programming experience to start, which makes it accessible to a wider range of learners. Thank you so much for having us today. I hope you enjoyed the session. Wishing you a great day, and you can scan this. You can learn more about degrees on Coursera, and you can start your journey today.